So let me be clear about how a free Iran will act towards its neighbors and the world after the fall of this regime. In security and foreign policy, Iran's nuclear military program will end. Support for terrorist groups will cease immediately. A free Iran will work with regional and global partners to confront terrorism in diplomacy. Relations with the United States will be normalized, and our friendship with America and her people will be restored. The State of Israel will be recognized immediately. We will pursue the expansion of the Abraham Accords into the Cyrus Accords, bringing together a free Iran, Israel, and the Arab world.
Sitting comfortably in his U.S. residence and ruling his imaginary subjects in faraway Iran via Zoom, Reza Pahlavi's dreams of getting close to finally sit on the peacock throne in Iran has never come true, like in the early days of January 2026, when demonstrations in Iran began. These were demonstrations which were allegedly orchestrated by external forces. But alas, it seems it wasn't supposed to be again, as his external regime change operators have no trust in him. So it was all a dream again. Hello and welcome again to the Edge of Politics podcast. Geopolitical Queen here with today's episode on Reza Pahlavi, the son of the deposed Shah of Iran, who has been living in the US for the past 47 plus years, calling Iranians to revolt against their government because he is now beholden to Israel and US masters. So who is Reza Pahlavi, who also calls himself Reza Shah II? In 1941, the British engineered the removal of the first Shah of the Pahlavi dynasty, Reza Shah, who had ruled since 1925. Reza Shah's pro-Hitler stance and awkward relationship with London, which at the time controlled Iranian oil, a hugely profitable industry, and would broker no interference with the massive profits flowing back to London, was replaced as Shah by his son Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, who ruled until 1979. This Shah was toppled by a combination of widespread public discontent with his autocratic rule, his policies of rapid westernization, perceived corruption, and his close alignment with the United States. Suffering from terminal cancer, the Shah left Iran in January 1979, never to return again. He died in Cairo, Egypt, in July 1980. The Shah married 3 times. He had 5 children, 2 sons and 3 daughters. His heir was Reza Pahlavi, who everyone is suddenly talking about today. Reza Pahlavi's battle to regain the Iranian throne has been in operation since his father's death, and he has doggedly pursued a way back to the throne since 1980. Born in October 1960 to unbelievable wealth and privilege, he was officially named as Crown Prince in 1967 when his father upgraded himself from king to emperor. Like his father, Reza was very interested in aviation and began training as a pilot when he was very young. He made his first solo flight at the age of 11 and gained his private pilot's license a year later. As an officer cadet in the Imperial Iranian Air Force. In August 1978, he was sent to the United States to complete a one-year pilot training program at the Reese Air Force Base in Texas. He was just over halfway through this course when the U.S. Air Force, at that time, when the Islamic Revolution broke out in Iran, thus making him leave the program in March 1979. In September 1979, Reza returned to the U.S. to study at Williams College in Massachusetts, but dropped out in 1980. With his family now living in exile in Egypt, Reza enrolled at the American University in Cairo, but hardly attended, preferring instead to have private Iranian tutors. When the Shah died, his wife, Empress Farah, declared herself regent. On his 20th birthday, on the 21st of October 1980, Reza declared himself to be the king of Iran, or the next Shah, with the regal name Reza Shah II. But the U.S. government refused to recognize Reza as the rightful monarch of Iran. So Reza, who was then living in the Kubet Palace in Cairo, began to build a group of pro-monarchists around him. However, he also faced rejection by left-wing Iranian dissidents who would not support a return to monarchy if the Islamic Republic was overthrown. Since then, Reza has done all he could to divide the opinion of Iranian dissidents and refugees who fled in 1979 between those who would support a restoration of the monarchy and those who would prefer an elected head of state. In 1982, the BBC got wind of a coup plot to put Reza on the throne in Iran. The power behind this plot has been reported to have been the CIA and the Israeli intelligence, with support from the then Israeli Prime Minister Menahem Begin. Other high-profile plotters were Yaakov Nimrodi, an Israeli businessman and Mossad agent, Adolf Schremer, a US-born Israeli pilot and CEO of Israel Aerospace Industries, and the Saudi billionaire arms dealer Adnan Khashoggi. This plan was aborted when Prime Minister Begin was replaced by Yitzhak Shamir, who did not want to involve Israel in what he called, quote, a new adventure, end quote. However, it has subsequently emerged through investigative journalists that during the Reagan administration in the 1980s, Reagan authorized the CIA to support the Iranian exiles, including Reza. That support was, of course, financial. It is unclear whether such financing continues today. But it is interesting to note that Reza's U.S. residence in Great Falls, Virginia, is very close to the CIA headquarters, which hilariously is named George H.W. Bush Center for Intelligence at Langley. From the 1980s onwards, Reza has devoted his energies to campaign for human rights, democracy, and unity among Iranians, both inside and outside Iran. He claims to believe that there must be a separation between religious and state in Iran and a free and fair elections for a democratic government. Unlike his father and grandfather, Reza wishes to be a constitutional monarch like King Charles III in the United Kingdom, rather than an absolute monarch like his forebears. Effectively, a unifying figurehead for a democratic Iran with a secular government. He has also maintained a close relationship with Israel, visiting the country in 2023 and meeting with President Yitzhak Herzog and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, an issue which makes most people assume that Reza is being funded by Israel today. He was criticized in some Iranian circles for not condemning Israel's aerial bombardment of Iran in 2025, with several Iranian political prisoners labeling Reza as a traitor to his country of birth in supporting the Israelis. Since the anti-government protests broke out in Iran in late December 2025, Reza has positioned himself as the symbolic leader in waiting of the nation, with some organized protesters chanting for a return of the Shah, displaying the old imperial flag of his father. It is very funny to note that most of the demonstrators who are flying Reza's father's imperial flag are the Gen Z generation who never lived under Reza's father's government, nor even experience what the monarchy was like some 47 years ago. Reza has called on Iranians to join the protests, something which would have been referred to as treason had Reza been an American citizen sitting anywhere calling on people to protest to remove a government. But he can sit in the United States and call for such chaos in Iran, a country he hasn't stepped foot in for the past 47 plus years. It is clear that since there is no single Iranian leader inside or outside the country who has emerged as a figurehead for this imaginary revolution, because it is not a revolution from the Iranian people, but from some external interference. The re-establishment of a monarchy in Iran is seen by many Iranians as a retrograde step. It is alleged that many are preferring a democratically elected leader, and the new imaginary Shah II is still dreaming of sitting above politics and hallucinatorily becoming a unifying symbol in the aftermath of the Dream Revolution. The demonstrations was, however, quashed by the Iranian military after internet connection in Iran was disconnected and the external forces had no means to communicate and direct their hired mob organizers to continue the chaos in Iran. The fact, however, remains that the current failed protest in Iran was the greatest opportunity which Reza Pahlavi has had in the over 47 years of actually trying to return to Iran as a king. The rest, as it stands now, is very much of let's wait and see. So what do you think? Is Reza Pahlavi the pretender to the ancient throne of Iran, or a man who still lives in his past glory? Well, kindly leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next broadcast. Good day.